Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on The Flash Season 7. So we have around, I think it's about a week and a half roughly until The Flash returns from when this video goes up. With this mini break that they have going on between episodes 7 and 8 for this season. Of course, episode 8, otherwise entitled The People vs. Killer Frost, as you can tell by the title, will deal with the fallout from the end of episode 7, where we saw Frost, or, Killer Frost to the public, arrested for her previous criminal activity throughout Central City. Of course, it is going to be interesting to see what happens there, as it could lead to a few different potential outcomes, both good and bad for Frost, and maybe what could happen with her, in the near future, or just future in general. But that's for us to wait and find out and just see what happens. But in this video, we are going to go over a bunch of new info or information in regards to future episodes for this season. This involving episodes that wrap up the current storyline with the new forces and what's going on there and all of that, as well as episodes that follow that storyline and lead into the new storyline or graphic novel for the back half of Season 7 of The Flash. But of course, throughout the video, be sure to let me know your various opinions, thoughts, maybe theories if you want to add them, because there are some things here where theory crafters could start going. So yeah, be sure to let me know your various thoughts, opinions, all that in the comment section down below. I'm always curious. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video and you're looking forward to what's coming up, why not drop a like on it to show support for the video and the channel and just show your excitement. So what we had revealed by Warner Brothers and DC and all of them recently were the episode titles for episodes 10 through to 13 for this season. So as I said, these cover the finale for the current storyline that we're in right now, as well as the introduction to the next storyline with what's coming. And of course, I think a lot of us are intrigued to see what's coming next. All we really do know roughly is that Godspeed's involved. And then, of course, we do have the 150th episode with the returning guest stars and the debut of Bart Allen, but that's right at the end. So what happens before that in the back half? So we will just go over each episode and break down what it could mean, as well as from what we also know heading into the back half of the season in those specific episodes. And there is also another piece of important information, might I say, that was included that I will bring up when appropriate in this video as well, because it relates specifically to something around one episode. So the first episode to go over off the title is actually 2 episodes. We're getting a 2-for-1 deal. So bargain hunters, here we go. And you might be wondering what the hell I mean by that. And that's because we have a 2-part episode or 2-part storyline or 2-episode storyline coming our way in episodes 10 and 11. This 2-parter will be called Family Matters, which is once again another reference to an 80s sitcom. I think that's the 3rd or 4th we've had this season. So we will have Family Matters Part 1 in episode 10, and then follow up the next week with Family Matters Part 2 in episode 11. So we were led to believe that episode 11 is the conclusion of the current storyline we're in, with all the forces and the Speed Force and everything like that. I think it was Danielle Panabaker, who plays Caitlin or Frost, said that in an interview or on like an Instagram live or something like that, but she could be mistaken. Maybe she just thought this happened there, and I will bring up the possible reasons why that is soon, but due to the fact that she said that episode 11 is the finale for that thing, we should believe that episode 11 is the finale for that story. But based off the title, there are 2 possible connections from what we know that is going on this season in this story. The first has to do with the Speed Force. Of course, the representation or the physical being of the Speed Force is Barry's mother, or looks like Barry's mother. So that's the easiest connection I have seen people make, based off the title. But the other solid option has to do with the Force family. All the holders of the Forces, coming together. So some people have just assumed that the Force holders we have met are similar to what we are seeing with the Speed Force, where they are just like a representation of that particular force. They aren't a real person that has been, given powers like Barry, for example. But press stuff released by Warner Brothers or in conjunction with Warner Brothers, including character descriptions, have said that these are actually real people with real lives and giving them descriptions and everything like that. So before they were hit by whatever force lightning it was that we saw go out over Central City at the end of episode 3, they were a gardener or something like that. So Barry rallying around the other force holders to take down the bigger threat, which honestly looks like it might be a corrupted Speed Force or something along those lines, could line up with the title of Family Matters. And seeing it's a 2-part storyline, there must be a lot going down if they need 2 episodes to deal with all of it. If you remember, I think the last 2-parter we had was the Last Temptation of Barry Allen, which was a fairly big thing, and a lot happened in those 2 episodes. So think alongside or think about that episode or those 2 episodes when you think about, the Family Matters stuff. But the next episode coming out after that two-parter in episode 10 and 11 is, of course, episode 12, and that's if I have my counting correct, that 12 follows 11. And that episode is Goodbye Vibrations. And yes, I know what most of you are thinking. Is this going to have a cameo by the Beach Boys? And no, I cannot confirm that. But also, some might be thinking that this episode could be hinting or just, straight up telling us that this is the end of Cisco, aka Vibe. And obviously, I can see why that would be the case, but would they really spoil that in the episode title? The only reason I can see why that would be the episode title is if the farewell is hinted at or just set up in previous episodes. Now, Cisco or Carlos Valdez was seen on set as Mecha Vibe not too long ago, but I'm pretty sure it was for the filming of this episode, episode 12. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I personally don't think they have had Cisco in enough of this season to write him off in a decent way, in only like a few episodes from now. So I think the episode title could be leaning towards something else, maybe involving Vibe or just something else, but who knows what they have planned based around that title. Now, the extra bit of information that goes along with this episode is that there's going to be another 1 week break. So we're in a break at the moment, which was 3 weeks, and we're about to have a 1 week break after episode 12. So episode 12 will air on June the 1st, and then there's no episode on June the 8th, and then episode 13, the next episode we'll talk about, will air on June 15th. So another break, but not too much of an issue. I think there's a specific reason around that, but one reason that I've seen people saying is, does that mean that episode 12 is actually the finale? Would they have the finale with the Family Matters thing, then have episode 12, and then randomly take a week break? And I can see why some people would think that. Personally, for me, it's not like they're taking a break like we have now, where it's 3 weeks, or it's like a Superman and Lois break where they're gone for 2 months or something like that. It's only 1 episode, or 1 week, where there's no episode. And for all that we know, episode 12 has nothing to do with the next storyline that finishes off the season. Episode 12 could be a filler episode, so it makes sense to have the filler episode, then we'll have a break, and then we'll pick up in episode 13, and then finish off the season potentially with no other breaks, and it just goes bang, 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 bang. So episode 12 maybe could be the finale, but if I'm looking at it, I would say potentially the most likely thing is that it's maybe a filler episode that maybe plants some seeds for the back half or the rest of the season's storyline, but it isn't like a main factor. So yeah, I wouldn't go along with the thinking that 12 is actually the finale for that storyline with the Speed Force. I'd say that's probably still 11 and, playing into that two episode storyline with episode 10 and 11. But yeah, finally we have episode 13, the last episode in which we do have an episode title. I'm sure we'll get more eventually. Like, we will, I just don't know when. I'd assume probably like when episode 11's maybe, or episode 12's airing, we'll get the final probably dump of episode titles. But yeah, the title for episode 13 is that of Masquerade. Now, to start off, there is a character from the DC Comics multiverse that is called Masquerade. However, that is a character from the Dakotaverse, which is the part of the multiverse where the Milestone Comics characters reside. So like Static Shock, for example, or Icon and characters like that. That's the Dakotaverse. Those are the Milestone characters, and Masquerade falls, in that pool. So I don't think this episode title is referring or relating to that character at all. But if it's not that character, what's it referring to? Well, I think it's literally referring to a masquerade. So a masquerade is a party where people wear masks and stuff like that, covering their identity, not showing who they truly are. It's a bit of a secretive, sort of thing. So I think that is what the episode title is referring to. Not a legitimate party. Maybe there is an actual masquerade party. I'm not too sure. But I'm not saying that's exactly what's happening, but I think that's what it's more leaning towards, like the whole masks and a big group of people wearing masks and everything like that. And maybe it's to do with the Godspeed clones. We do know that the Godspeed clones, or at least a lot of Godspeeds, are going to be appearing in episode 15 in a large capacity. And we know Godspeed's playing a part in the back half of this season. So could that be, first introduced in a large capacity in this episode where there's multiple Godspeeds showing up, and episode 13's the starting point and makes Team Flash realize that they've got a big ordeal coming their way. Or if it's not Godspeed, it could have something to do with other characters, like all wearing masks, confusing and covering their identities and various things like that. That's what I would be putting my money on, not necessarily other characters, but just something to do with a group of characters, whether it's the Godspeed clones or someone else. I would say that's most likely what the Masquerade title is referring to. Not saying I'm right, but that's what I'm leaning towards. I think that makes sense, especially considering the context of what we have for the back half of this season. So yeah, I'd say Godspeed clones is the one to lean towards. But yeah, guys, that's all to go over at the moment. That's all we have. If you enjoyed the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts, opinions, theories, anything you want to add from what I talked about in this video. Let me know in the comment section down below. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.